My name's Louisa Habistro. I'm the Global HR Manager here at the CIPD. Welcome to the Leadership and Management stage. Today's masterclass is going to be so much fun, so I hope you're ready for a little interaction. Everybody goes, oh my goodness, no. But yes, it's going to be brilliant. Throughout today's session, if you have any questions that you want to put to the panel, please scan the QR codes. QR codes. They'll come through to the iPad. I'll make sure we've got time to ask questions at the end. So, my first question to you is, are you having the right conversations to build trusted, engaged, and high-performing conversations? Well, let's find out, because that's what today's masterclass is all about. So please give a massive, warm welcome to our speakers, Maggie Matthews, the Associate Director of the Oxford Group, and Joe Bell, Client Manager at City & Guilds. Whoop, whoop.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the session. As you heard there, this session is all going to be about conversations, and yes, there will be some conversations involved. It's about the power of authentic, two-way conversations and what that can do for engagement within the workplace. I'm Joe Bell. I'm a skills specialist at City & Guilds, and we'll talk a little bit about City & Guilds throughout the session. I'm here with Maggie Matthews, who's the Associate Director at the Oxford Group, and the Oxford Group is part of City & Guilds. Although you may be familiar with City & Guilds, you might recognise our brand and you might associate us with apprenticeships, qualifications, and technical skills. We are actually positioning ourselves as a global skills partner for organisations, and we have wider capabilities than you might be aware of. We work with organisations of all levels in many countries across the world on strategic workforce transformation, identifying skills gaps, skills needs, and providing solutions. Those solutions with measurable business impact, measuring that investment in training and return on investment. We're all about future-proof talent development to help people enter the workplace, develop in their role, and drive productivity. For 145 years, City & Guilds has been focusing on skills. We are a very old organisation formed through a royal charter through the Guilds of London many years ago. However, for the last 60 years, we've also been a leader in leadership and management development through our brands, the Oxford Group and ILM. ILM and the Oxford Group are part of City & Guilds and are real experts within the leadership and management space, and Maggie is from the Oxford Group, as I said before. I'm going to hand over to Maggie now to get you talking.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm assuming you can hear me. This is kind of weird, I have to say, having a conversation with people that I don't know if you can hear me or not, but hey, we can work it out. But I've got nods, so thank you for that. So I'm really happy to be here today. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about the why. Why have we got this subject matter? Why are we talking about it? But mostly what I'm going to do today is give you a chance to have conversations. So I'm going to introduce you to a conversation tool and get you talking. And it is possible with your headsets and everything on. So why is this subject important now? In the time of artificial intelligence, where AI is writing our emails for us, we all do it, come on, where artificial intelligence is sorting our data, we're even using AI to coach our people. That's all cool. I love it. It's great. And we also have the other agenda around inclusion and diversity. We've got multi-generations in the workforce. We've got lots of complexity. And we believe at the Oxford Group that emotional intelligence needs to sit hand in hand with artificial intelligence, both together. And it's a lifetime's work working with leaders and managers across organizations to help build that emotional intelligence. And I love artificial intelligence. It's changed my life to a certain extent. But, you get a sort of a message from your system saying, well done on reaching your milestone. And you sort of know it's auto-generated. It doesn't really give you the warm, fuzzy feeling. However, if your manager or a colleague or a stakeholder comes to you and says, hey, well done on that piece of work, it was brilliant, that gives you warm, fuzzy feelings. And warm, fuzzy feelings create a sense of relaxation. People start to feel psychologically safe when they feel connected to others. I'm not going to talk about neuroscience today. I saw lots of neuroscience stuff yesterday and today. but it's all based in that science of neuroscience, giving those connections with people. So we genuinely believe there is power in two-way conversation, and this is not just for our leaders. This is for us as HR professionals. It's in our roles too, in our everyday interactions with people in our organisations. Every single leadership programme that we run, psychological safety is at the heart of it. And even more so at the heart of that is the link between great conversations and performance. I've run through loads of slides because I saw so much on it yesterday. So we strongly believe the quality of conversation that we have with our people has a direct impact on the relationship we have with our manager, which has an impact on our engagement, which ultimately has an impact on performance. We haven't made that up. There's lots of research through Gallup and other spaces that will tell us that. So that proper link between conversation with our manager and business performance. We also talk a lot and know a lot about the role of leaders in this. The job is kind of simple. We have to find ways to help our leaders to avoid creating threats for others. We have to use trust to create reward, and ultimately it's that feeling of being authentic and being ourselves. And we believe conversation is the key to this. The Oxford Group worked with AstraZeneca probably about 12 or 15 years ago. We worked on a program with them called Constructive Conversations, and we built a program around some key conversations that their 1,500 managers weren't having. We spent a couple of years with them working through the program. At the end of that, when we did some evaluation data, there was some lovely feedback for our facilitators and our learning. But what was really important was we saw some hard data around the people who had attended, the leaders who had attended the program. The engagement scores for those leaders were higher than those who hadn't attended the program. And that was, we knew we had something. And then neuroscience came along and helped us prove we had something. So we created the 5 conversations that transform trust and engagement. These are not rocket science, okay? You'll have seen these in various formats before. But our encouragement is that every leader, every individual in an organisation ought to have the skills. And it's not just about skills, though. It's about mindset. It's the mindset to have these quality conversations. Conversation 1 is about building trust. So it's that first conversation that you have with people. It's that regular conversation. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail because I'm going to let you have a go at that shortly. The second one is about agreeing mutual expectations. Have you ever been in a situation where you've presented some work to somebody and they said, well, that's not what I wanted. Could you go back and do it again, please? Yeah, I've seen a few nods. I've been there lots of times. It's likely that you may not have had that chance to have that conversation about, well, what actually do you need from this? What is the expectation? What do you want me to do? Our encouragement is that all leaders, all line managers have that conversation on a regular basis, and stakeholder groups. Whenever I work with a new project manager on a new project, one of the first conversations we have is that piece around what do we expect of each other? What are your strengths? What are you not so good at? What do I need to look out for? What are my strengths? What am I not so good at? What do you need to look out for? What does good look like in this project? Simple questions that set a solid foundation for a longer term relationship. The next 2 conversations that we have are showing genuine appreciation and challenging unhelpful behaviour. Showing genuine appreciation is one of the easiest conversations to have. It's about catching people doing things right and telling them. It's as simple as that. And it's not good enough to say, great presentation, Maggie. That's what everyone will be saying later. It's not enough to say that. That was a great presentation because you kept eye contact with the audience, because your slides were slick, because you knew your stuff. So it's taking that level down in building. And by doing that, we are creating dopamine hits in our people. We're creating the warm feelings within our team members. And all of that builds trust. And it's only when we have those trustful relationships can we have some of the more challenging conversations. Because conversation 4 is about challenging unhelpful behaviour. So that's when you notice stuff is not going so well. And this is not stuff that we save up for Christmas. This is a conversation that we encourage you to have in the normal everyday. And it doesn't have to be, can I have a word? Or I've got some feedback for you. It can be something like, oh, I heard you on that client call. It sounded tricky. What was going on? It can be done in a way that through, as many of you will know, the appreciative inquiry. It's looking at lessons learned, looking at it from a positive stance. That's conversation 4. The 5th conversation is building for the future. And this is the conversation where we show people that we are invested in them. We're invested in their next steps, in what they want to do next in their career, what they want to do next in their role, in their job. And this is about sitting with them. It's possibly, if you're a line manager, you might do it once a year. If you're a colleague, you might do it on an irregular basis to support them. And this is that conversation where you go, well, how are things working out for you in your job? What skills are you learning? What are you not learning? What would you like to do more of? What would you like to do less of? And figuring out together how you can help to create the conditions for that individual to grow in that space that they want to. So they're the 5 conversations. We run various sessions on the 5 conversations. So come and talk to us. We're actually literally on stand K80 there. So if you're interested, you can talk to us later. What I'd like to do now, though, is I want to get you into a conversation. And conversation 1 is probably one of the simplest conversations. And you can go as deep or as shallow as you like for your first one. So this conversation 1 is about establishing trust. And we tend to define trust through the trust equation. I know many of you will be familiar with the trust equation already. And this is how do we know that we trust somebody? This is quite good to test. Do an assessment on some of your relationships. In order for me to trust somebody, they need some credibility. So I need to know that they're competent, that they know what they're doing, okay? Yeah, tick in the box. Joe ticks the box for credibility. I need to know that they're reliable. So that means that they say what they'll do and they do what they say. Okay, so they promised they would get me that piece of the report by Wednesday, and here I have it. It's Wednesday and I've got it. Brilliant. I'm not a big fan of this next word, intimacy. Some people say it feels a bit wrong at work. I use the word familiarity sometimes to define intimacy. So familiarity is, how well do I know them? What have we got in common? Do I know about their family? Do I know if they have a dog? Have they got 2 dogs? Do they hate dogs? Do they like cats? What do I know about? What is my relationship like with them? When we've got credibility, reliability and intimacy, trust can be present. However, there is a factor that can just cut through all of that, and that's other orientation. When we see that people are orientated not just towards themselves, so they're not coming to chat to me so they can get something done through me, but actually they are thinking about me as well as themselves. I'm not asking them to be purely selfless, but thinking about where is their orientation? Is it all about them? Do I only ever hear from them when they have a problem? Do they only ever ask for help when it's all about them? Do they ever come and talk to me from my perspective? And that's that self-orientation piece. And many of us will have stories of people that we have in our professional lives who maybe are a little bit more self-orientated than we need to, but it is an indicator of trust. So if you're trying to build trust with people, you can use this formula. Examine your own relationship with the individuals around you. Am I ticking the boxes on these? And where is my orientation with this person? Am I literally only contacting them when I really need them? Or am I taking time to have some of the 5 conversations with them at other times? Equally, you can assess your relationships with others. I often use this to help me understand why some of my relationships are not so good. Why don't I get along with X, Y, or Z person? Why is the relationship failed? And often using this as an assessment can help me get to that point. So that trust equation is quite a useful way to understand and to build trust with others. We share this quite openly in our organisation, and we might hear the language amongst each other. They are very self-orientated, and we might give somebody some feedback to that effect. I've noticed that you only come to me when you need something. And when I reached out to you last week, it took you 4 days to get back to me. That's all good feedback if we do it regularly, and it builds trust. So that's the trust equation, and it's a useful foundation for conversation one. So let's get into conversation one. I'm going to ask you to do an exercise in a moment, and I realize you've got headphones on. So if you've ever fantasized about being a DJ, you know those ones that have one headphone on and one off? That's what you're going to do today. You're going to have a go at this. So you're going to hold one in your ear, have the other one off, because I'm going to get you to have a chat with the person beside you. And I'm going to ask you to have what we call conversation one. And we're going to give you some guide questions. So we're not leaving you. Question number 12 is dropped to the bottom, if anybody can spot it. It's not special. I don't know why it's dropped. So you can use any of these questions to start to get to know the person next to you. And I'm doing this because I just want you to try it out. If you already know the person next to you, so they're your colleague or they're your mate or your partner or whatever they might be, you might want to pick a question that's quite deep from this list. If you don't know them that well and you want to keep it risk-free, keep the questions at sort of a less deep level, okay? So you sort of get it right for you. In a lot of instances, I also encourage the person to choose the question themselves. So I might say, Joe, can you ask me question number 10, please? So that's a nice, safe way of getting a question that maybe you don't want to go too far on. So I'm going to give you a moment to have a think, and then I'm going to ask you to pair up. And we're going to do this for about 6 minutes. So we're going to have 6 minutes of a conversation with the person next to you. So it'll be 3 minutes each side, and I'll give you a 3-minute warning when it's one to the other. So I would love you to start. Person next to you. Don't do anything too fandangled. So one ear in and one ear out. So you can have one headphone in and one out, so you can hear your person speak. Okay. I'm going to draw you in. I'm going to draw you back. So I'm going to draw you back. You might want to put your headphones back on. So a few people went rogue and took their headsets off altogether and then didn't know what was going on. No. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I would love to hear from one or two people who have had the conversation and sort of want to say something. The impact of it. Did you get something interesting and deep? And do you think you sort of built a basis of trust? Maybe you spoke to a colleague you know quite well already. Hands up. Anybody want to make a comment? You can do this. Here we go. We've got someone furthest away. Thank you. She wanted the exercise. Okay.
Not quite. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what I was going to say, but I guess because this short conversation was so impactful, I was just excited to share. My question to Millie was, who I don't know, by the way, was what matters to you most when trusting others. And it turns out that we both work for quite a different size organizations. Where she works in a huge organization, I'm bound to a very small team, and I guess that's where we have both advantages and disadvantages of evaluating that trust when it comes to our team members, because I am the sounding board for the people. I have to adapt to different personalities and find ways how to trust others, but equally for them to trust me. And Millie's advice as working for a big organization was absolutely amazing, is to perhaps give a little bit space and time to those people who are less likely to be very trusting to start with. And for me to understand that my authenticity might intimidate others, and just tone it down probably a little bit. So just finding that grey area. So
yeah, that's amazing. So I think there was something in there. Did everybody hear that? Oh, good, because I had to read it. Thank you for that comment, and I think that's brilliant. And there is something about time. This is foundational work, okay? The hard work happens in the early days. You reap the rewards later. So it takes time and energy to begin with, but then we reap the rewards later as we work through and start to build those relationships. And as organisations develop this as a culture, so we work with many organisations where every team member has practiced 5 conversations. It happens quicker. Because it becomes part of the culture. It becomes part of what we do around here on an everyday and regular basis. So that was almost everything I wanted to say. There was a couple of questions that were asked through the app. So we're going to answer one of those questions because we are going to run out of time. Can you believe it? See, when you talk, time flies. It's good. So we're going to answer one of those questions. And then if you've got other questions, as I said, we are literally just there, K80 on the corner. Come and talk to us, and we'd love to hear more about what's going on for you. So I can't remember, I haven't memorized the question.
It's all right. Okay, so our first question was from Anthony, and the gist of it is, how do we build trust quickly and effectively if we've got a limited time span to do it? So is there a way to kind of get the maximum impact in the shortest amount of time?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Anthony. And I think, Anthony, that was specifically in a production environment.
Yes, it was.
So you've got people turning up to shift, and they probably generally just turn up on the nick of time for shift. So there's something for us about how we onboard people into that environment and how we schedule their onboarding so they don't just rock up and start working. What do we do in that first 90 days to help them build relationships with those people that they're going to be working with on a long-term basis? And it doesn't need to be formally put people in a room together. It might be to arrange lunch or a tea break or something simple for that individual once a week for the first 6 weeks, or once a day for the first 15 days, whatever might work for in your environment, so that you start to build the relationships and we start to build trust over time. In some production environments that we work with, they use team events and team time. People come on to shift a bit earlier and spend time together in groups, and they do something semi-informal that's led by the team leader, shift leader at that point. So there's various different tricks that we can use to build trust quickly and in very busy operational environments. It can be easier in the office, but of course hybrid working and remote working has created some challenges around that for all of us. So we have to be mindful and proactive in that space. So I'm going to hand over to Joe for his last piece.
It's all right. Okay, just going to do a super quick wrap up. So, as Maggie said, we're on a stand over there. One thing we're not talking about much today is the new book that the Oxford Group have published called The Neglected Acts of Leadership. We're giving away 10 copies. Come to the stand to enter the prize draw for that. It's a fantastic angle on leadership development. We also offer strategic skills review, so any organisations that really doesn't know where to start or is launching some new skills projects and wants to have a sounding board. This could be about return on investment for training, the goals and challenges of your training. We've got lots of solutions end-to-end in leadership and technical skills and all sorts of other areas, so please do come and talk to us about a strategic skills review. I find it really hard to get those words out. And that's it really, yeah, so please do come see us. Any questions, we're happy, Maggie and I and the full team are going to be over there. Come enter the draw for the book and talk to us about any kind of skills issues that you might have.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Fabulous. So I recognise that we didn't get through all the questions today, but like the guys say, they're happy to come for you to come and talk to them on the stand, which is just here. If you're interested in any other topics, or if you would like to hear about how the CIPD can support you with your own professional development or the development of your teams, please can you make your way over to the CIPD stage as well, and they're more than happy to talk you through. So thank you very much. Thank you.